This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. Shout out to all my Browns people first and foremost. I'm going to start this with love. Shout out to all my Browns people who cover it, who watch it, who wasn't ready to fold. Shout out to all my people who wasn't ready to tell you, oh, the Browns have zero chance to win. Oh, the 49ers are so big and bad. Oh, we can't do nothing about them. Shout out to the people who weren't just willing to sell you doom and gloom the second the opportunity arises. Shout out to some of my people who stayed focused on the study and told themselves and understood that there were avenues in which the Cleveland Browns could win this game. Shout out to my people who did not act like this was Georgia playing an FCS West team or something like that. Shout out to my people who understood that this was a NFL game and understood that in the NFL, anything's possible. Shout out to my people who remember that the Browns have the best defense in football. And I'm sorry, when you have the best defense in football, and if you truly believe that, you have a chance to win any football game that you played in. Let this be a reminder. The Browns have the best defense in football. Bar none, point blank, period. I'm not arguing with nobody about it. We got it. That's the truth. Best defense in a while if you look at some of these numbers. But they have the best defense in football. The concern for this team is, and this is if you don't get anything from this video, positive or negative, here's the through line. The Browns have a defense that can beat any team in the NFL. And right now, they have an offense that can lose against any team in the NFL. That's the truth of them. They are the reverse USC Trojans. Right? Like, that's who they are. As of now, the defense is no longer a question. The defense is no longer hypothetical. The defensive success is no longer something that we are wondering about if they are good enough. They are the best defense in the NFL. We're no longer on fraud watch. We're no longer watching if this defense is fraud. We know what they are. Without turnovers, they held the 49ers to 10 points. 49ers got the 17, largely off of an interception from PJ Walker, giving Amari Cooper a chance on the 50-50 ball, which I'm not that mad about. But without that help, they were going to lose at 10 points. This Browns offense, to the contrary, has had 12 turnovers. It is a credit to this defense that they are 3-2. It is a credit to this defense that they could be negative in the turnover margin in all three victories. It is a credit to this defense that they could beat one of the best teams in football while being negative in the turnover margin. It is a credit. Not every defense in the NFL can do this. Not every number one defense in NFL's past history can do this. This defense is special. This defense is what you thought it was. No longer questioning it. It is who they are. If they were bad for this long, we would be definitive about how bad they are. If they are good for this long, we need to start accepting that they're just good. So you have a chance to win any football game. Deshaun Watson, no Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, out. I don't care. This defense is that damn good. And once the turnover faucet opens up for them, they're going to be even better. And once they shut the turnover faucet on the other side, they'll be even better. But this defense is really good. They got 1 million 3-and-outs on the season. They almost got a season worth of 3-and-outs. It's been 5 games. And you can't tell me they're not tested. They got tested with Derrick Henry when it comes to the run game, shut that down. They got tested with their corners with the Cincinnati Bengals, shut that down. They got tested with the 49ers overall offense, shut that down. You could point to injuries, you could point to weather conditions, but there is one constant with the Cleveland Browns defense, and that is domination. So point to whatever you want. Oh, it was really this. We've been hearing it for 5 weeks that it was really something else other than the Browns defense. And unless the Browns defense is operating on the most luck in the world, then I don't think it's luck. I think it's domination. That's who they are. Brock Purdy had his worst game of his career. Not a surprise. Browns defense got that pressure on him. Browns secondary made it tough for him. Not a surprise. I told y'all this defense was real. And look, I was a late adopter. But after I saw the first 4 weeks, I was like, oh, no, I'm sold. This defense is dope. Okay? Some of y'all got off of it because the Ravens got 28 points, 14 off turnovers, but Lamar was cooking. No disrespect. Lamar was cooking. So it was what it was. But now we play the 49ers. They showed up. One of the things I talked about, we always assume that we're going to get a team's best punch when we play them. Not the truth. Not the truth. We didn't get the 49ers' best punch, partly because they got a lot of injuries, right? So can you take it with a grain of salt? You can take any victory in the NFL with a grain of salt. What matters if you execute, and they did. Christian McCaffrey goes out. They're a different team without C-Mac, but they still a good team, and they shut that down. Brandon Ayuk still a really good wide receiver. Brock Purdy supposed to be that guy. Hey, they shut that down. You got to give them credit for that. They won a game against the best team in football, quote unquote, with P.J. Walker. And it's not like P.J. played great. He had 2 interceptions. Almost had 3. So defensively, they are who we thought they were. Let me give some shout outs to some individual efforts. I hope Juan Thornhill gets okay soon as possible. Need him. He was great in this game. Grant Delpit didn't have his best game. Ronnie McLeod didn't have his best game. But you know who did? J.O.K. all over the field. Baller. Sione Takitaki all over the field. Balling. Dalvin Tomlinson all over the field. Balling. Myles Garrett didn't have his greatest game. Didn't have a sack. But he was there. He made pressure. He did his thing, took the presence, and other guys were able to take advantage of that. People are going to use this as a negative that Myles Garrett did not go off against the 49ers. But think about it this way. This defense damn near held the 49ers to 10 points. And Myles Garrett didn't even have to go off. How good are they? If this were basketball, let's flip it. If this were basketball and the Browns had LeBron James and the Browns beat the Golden State Warriors and LeBron James scored 10 points, we'd be like, damn, they beat the Warriors and LeBron only scored 10? What they gonna do when he get his normal 30? That's the same mindset we should have with Myles. If Myles doesn't go off and the defense does, that just makes you more confident in the defense. That is not all on the back of Myles Garrett. I'm thankful that Myles Garrett don't got to put the back brace on this year. So shout out to Myles. Secondary, Martin Emerson had a couple bad plays in this game, but I thought he had some good moments early in this game too. You know, I think a lot of people are going to focus on a couple bad plays from Martin that could have cost you the game, but I think Martin in total had a decent enough game. I thought Denzel Ward was excellent all game. I don't even think he got a penalty on him. Greg Newsome had some moments he wants back. I think in all, I don't think this was your corner, like your secondary's best game. I thought that they all had moments that they wanted back, but these linebackers played their best game. Dalvin Tomlinson in the interior played his best game, and that was enough. It's a team effort, man. Everybody's not going to have their best game at the same time. Some days you're going to get great games from your corners, not great games from your edges. Some games you're going to get great games from your linebackers, not great games from your D tackles. But you have to have enough that if a couple guys are hot, you can win the game. Defense did that. Got bailed out by a missed field goal by Jake Moody. That wasn't a great drive at the end of this game. Make sure I point that out. But the fact that this game was reachable within the Browns scoring 19 points, like, I'm good on it. Let's flip the sides of the ball to the offense. Well, actually, let's talk about special teams. Dustin Hopkins needs his respect. He's been everything we wanted. Shout out to Dustin Hopkins. Get that man his money. I appreciate you, Dustin. Give me a hug, bro. It just feels so good. Like Dustin missed that one field goal early in the game, and I wasn't worried about that. Like I was like, yeah, he gonna give me that money back. Like I ain't even worried. He gonna get that back. He got it back. Dustin, you ain't got to worry about it. This ain't K York. We not living that life no more. We not struggling like that. You know what I mean? Like Dustin Hopkins is like the difference from when you are broke on minimum wage and you miss somebody borrowing you like $20, and the difference when you got a salary and somebody like borrows $20, you can't pay them back. And you're like, okay, it's fine. I don't really need it that much. We'll get it back. You know what I mean? I hope that held up. I don't think that held up the best, if I'm being honest with you. But Dustin Hopkins, great. Corey Bojo, great punt at the end of the half. Even Darden, the punt returner. Good job, man. That's why I like it. Positive punt returns, not catching it when he's not supposed to. Donovan Peoples-Jones did catch a punt in the 4-yard line, drove me crazy. They took him out, let Darden catch punts after that. See, look, every week there's a special team snafu that people swear I don't know what I'm talking about when I get mad at. This was one of them because I pointed that out and people were like, Quincy, you're being mad over nothing. It could have bounced at the 1. I'm like, well, what does it matter if it's at the 1 or the 4? But at the DPJ caught that thing at the 1, he never caught another punt in that game again because they don't catch that. Why would you catch that? Anyways, let's talk about the offense. Hey, respect is due to the offensive line because I was pissed off of them after that Baltimore game and throughout the bye week. Disappointing offensive line through the first 4 weeks. Today they showed up. Jed Wills had like one mistake in that game. Didn't really get beat that much. I got to look at the film to make sure. But Jed, from what it appears like, had a solid game. Got to give him his flowers when flowers are necessary. I didn't think he's played well all season. He played well today, especially when you put up that he played against Nick Bosa. And last time we saw him play football, he made Jadeveon Clowney look like Nick Bosa. So the fact that Nick Bosa didn't dominate this game is a kudos to Jed Wills because that's an improvement. Whether the bar is low, I'll answer that later. We'll look at the film. This is what film breakdowns are for. Michael Dunn stepped in there for Joe Bitonio. Only really one mistake. He didn't pull fast enough on a run play, and I think that really cost the Browns a lot of yardage. I think it could have cost him a touchdown because he just wasn't out there and he didn't punch at the right time. But other than that, from what I can see, he played a good game. Ethan Posick, good game from him. Wyatt Teller, one mistake. Good game, though. Good game. One mistake. Cost you 7 points. If you had lost this game, very different tone. But the mistake was he held for no reason on a touchdown to David Njoku through a screen that could have really hurt this team. Cost the team 7 points. Could have cost them, well, it ended up costing them all the points because they didn't even make the field goal. So that could have been a difference in the game. Luckily, it wasn't. And that mistake got erased because he played well enough to help this team get field goals down the line. So Wyatt Teller, good. DeJuan Jones, I mean, like, what more can be said about DeJuan? He's actually good. And Amari Cooper, shout out to you. You're dope. Amari Cooper's that guy. I talked about this before. Who's going to be the guy for the Cleveland Browns? Who's going to be the guy that answers the call? Who's going to be the guy that when it's 3rd and 6, this team points to and says, hey, he's going to get open? Whoever that guy is, we need to know. It's Amari Cooper. There were hopes that it was going to be Elijah Moore. I have those hopes no more. No pun intended. It's Amari Cooper. If it's 3rd and 5, if we in the end zone, find a way to get Amari Cooper the damn ball. That's the guy. I don't know why he's never been treated like the guy. He's the guy. David Njoku was good today, too. Shout out to David, playing through some burns. I thought Kareem Hunt was good. Jerome Ford had an up and down game, but popped up when it mattered the most on that last drive to get that ball to the 10-yard line. So, I ain't mad at it. Kevin Stefanski, I thought was fine in this game. I thought he had some good play calls, especially that play call with the 4th and 1 QB sneak where he tossed it with Harrison Bryant. Great play call. Got a touchdown out of that. Look, man, it was going to be tough to get to 19 points to win this game for the Browns. And they found a way to get to 19 against this San Francisco 49ers defense, which might be number 2 in the NFL behind the Browns. And they did it with P.J. Walker and Jerome Ford. There are weeks to be critical of Kevin Stefanski. This is not one of them. I urge people to not make that mistake. Okay. There are weeks to be critical of Jed Wills. You don't have to reach this week. Just don't say he sucked in this game because you think he sucks in general. He wasn't. He wasn't bad. Kevin Stefanski, if you don't like him overall, don't reach this week. This is not the week to talk about how his play calling was terrible, because it wasn't. They got 19 points with PJ Walker, and PJ Walker threw 2 interceptions. So it's not like PJ was doing great. So Kevin was good in this game. I thought the play calling was fine. Much better than it was versus Baltimore. And here is the criticism that I have in general with Kevin, and the through line that you'll see with Kevin. And the through line with Kevin that will drive you crazy, but will also reward itself at times, is that Kevin Stefanski believes in his players. For better or worse, he will believe in guys. What do I mean by this? Elijah Moore and Jerome Ford are 2 great examples of this in 2 different directions. Elijah Moore is somebody that Kevin truly believes in. And since he believes in Elijah Moore, he's going to keep giving him them end arounds. And he knows that those end arounds are good looks because he's getting what he wants from the defense, and they are there, to be fair to Kevin. Those end arounds are there. But the problem is that Elijah Moore consistently never hits the hole on those end arounds. So they look like garbage. Some coaches would just stop running the end arounds with Elijah Moore or put somebody else in there. But since Kevin believes in Elijah Moore, he thinks that, hey, eventually it's gonna click for him. He's gonna hit that hole, and he's gonna be what I need him to be because I believe in him. It did not happen today with Elijah Moore. I don't even know if Elijah Moore got a reception, but it did not happen today with Elijah Moore. But Kevin believes in him, and he's not gonna go away from him, and he's not gonna stop believing in him. And that might reward itself later in the season. But this is a through line with Kevin. Kevin believes in his guys. Jerome Ford. I thought he played terrible in the second quarter of this game. I thought he was not getting north and south enough. I thought Kareem Hunt was playing much better. But to Kevin's credit, he stuck with Jerome Ford on these toss plays, on these crack plays, and he trusted that Jerome Ford, it was going to click for him and that he was going to be beneficial in that role. And you had a couple runs on that last drive where it did work out. Kevin's going to believe in his guys. I don't think a lot of the criticism of Kevin as a play caller, as far as like what he calls, is bad. I don't think that's as warranted as being critical of that part. But that's what Kevin is. He's going to believe in his guys. Whether you think that's right or wrong, it's up for you. But he believes in his guys to figure it out. We saw this with Joe Woods. Kevin believed in his guy until he couldn't, right? He's going to believe in his guys to be playmakers. Same thing happened with DTR. He believed that DTR could run the same game plan as Deshaun Watson. Horrible miscalculation. But he believes in his guys, right? That's the benefit of Kevin, is that he's going to believe in his guys. And guys are going to make plays because of it. And guys are going to play for him because of it. And that's going to be rewarded. But also, there can be miscalculations. And he's not going to be the quickest to pull the plug because he believes in his guys. That is the through line with Kevin Stefanski, in my opinion. Overall, it's a great win. It's great to be at 3-2. It's more important to get to 4-2 next week because you play the Colts. That's an AFC tiebreaker game. You need that game. If you win that game, what happens in the next 2 are almost irrelevant, right? You could be 4-4, get to that Baltimore game in there. What this team is, and I said at the beginning of the video, I'll say it at the end. They are a defense that gives you a chance to win against anybody, and they're an offense that gives you a chance to lose against anybody because of those turnovers. If they plug the turnover faucet on the offensive side of the ball, they're a great team. If they become a good offense because Deshaun gets back or whatever, they become a high-quality team, a top-tier AFC team. But that's where we're at. Right now, they're good enough to beat anybody. They're good enough to lose to anybody because of that defense. If they just stop turning the ball over, they're a great team, a very difficult team to beat. If they become a good offense on top of what they are defensively, they're one of the best teams in football. But we have no idea what to expect week to week from the offense. And what we have to expect from the offense so far is turnovers. Deshaun has turned the ball over a ton. DTR has turned the ball over a ton. PJ's turned the ball over a ton. If they just shut that faucet, they'll be a great team. A playoff team for sure. But We'll see what the offense gives you. We'll have to play the Deshaun Watson shoulder game for a little while, hopefully not too much longer. But that's my thoughts. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night.